The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
People, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks here on Locked On Canucks. One love to the Don't Doze Art Lab for giving us the West Coast bias on the low to give to you and you and you and you. And yo, speaking of the West Coast bias, how much West Coast bias does Rick Tocchet have? Probably not a lot, because do the math. He kind of quit on the Canucks, a.k.a. he quit on the Canucks 2.5 years into this thing called his head coaching resurgence in the NHL, right? After poaching him from TNT, he came here for a cup of coffee, some success, and then hit the lottery in Philadelphia, where he, probably wanted to be all along. So let's talk about it. Well, the unreal reasons why Rick Tocchet left the Vancouver Canucks, okay? Emphasis on unreal. I'm not the facts guy. Trevor Beggs, who is the facts guy, is babysitting his children, all right? AKA taking care of his children while on a family vacation during the holidays. So let's get into all of that. It's going to be fun. I also want you to have some input too on the live chat and in the post. Give me like your whys, okay? Why do you think Rick Tocchet left? Have some fun with it, or be super serious, AKA hockey folks, about it, and we'll read those comments. We'll also dive into Linus Karlsson on the second half of the show and how, we probably have to sign this guy and not trade him, because I've seen a couple people talk about the latter. And then maybe we'll touch on our playoff chances at the end of the episode, AKA our lottery chances as well. Anywho, let's dive right into it, okay? Why did Rick Tocchet leave the Vancouver Canucks? The Unreal Edition. Let's talk about the obvious first, I guess. He knew Quinn Hughes was leaving early, right? And you can do the math too, like quit Hughes, quit 25 games into the season. He made his decision in the summer. Let's be real. Let's be honest. That's for sure. And I maybe told Alvin and Rutherford. I doubt that, but I do think he told Rick Tocchet that there's a small chance that he's sticking around. Rick Tocchet did the math and looked at the other guys in the room. There's no Miller there anymore. Doesn't believe in Pettersson. Doesn't believe in Besser in the core. Quinn Hughes is no longer there. I'm out of here. Right? Which was probably a huge decision for Rick Tocchet, obviously. I mean, a year prior to leaving, he was the coach of the year. Like, there was substance here. But then he gets word that Quinn Hughes is leaving, and he's like, I'm out of here. Without Quinn, we can barely win. Without Quinn, we will never win. And remember, months and months and months ago, Jim Rutherford, surprised that Rick Tocchet made that decision. Heck, if I knew Quinn Hughes was leaving, I would... I was going to say I'd probably do the same thing, but I love Vancouver, so I wouldn't. How about the next reason? Not a believer in Elias Pettersson. That is the obvious. I mean, some people would, give a lot of credit to Rick Tocchet for destroying Elias Pettersson's career. The Elias Pettersson truthers out there, again, blame that man for ripping the confidence out of his soul. Ruining the spirit of the game for Elias Pettersson, Mr. 11.6. And man, oh man, how many times did Rick Tocchet allude to the fact that A, he's tired of talking about Elias Pettersson, and B, he's done with the excuses. You either have it or you don't. You either have that dog in you or you don't got it at all. Now, never forget the pressers at the end of the 2024 season. Right? Not one Canucks player made an excuse. Outside of Brock Besser, whose injuries were like very public, right? Nobody used the injury card. It was like some sort of identity protocol that Tocchet and the Canucks were trying to practice, right? Nobody's making an excuse. We ride together, we die together. We're not looking for no scapegoats. But who was there, disclosing their injuries? It was Elias Pettersson. And who was there defending the fact that Elias Pettersson played through injury? Not Rick Tocchet, not Patrick Alvin, and not Jim Rutherford. But more notably, again, the head coach, the guy in the dressing room, Rick Tocchet, not letting it pass for Elias Pettersson and the injury excuse. So yeah, Rick Tocchet gonna leave. Miller's not there. Quinn's leaving. You still got Mr. 11.6, one of the best centers in hockey, quote unquote. And yeah, there's absolutely no chance that that guy believes Elias Pettersson could rally the troops. Maybe he believes that, you know, he could get back to form, but you know, as a head coach, you need guys in that room, and especially in Rick Tocchet's case as well, right? Right. In his point of view, he always wanted the players to do the leading. I think that was like one of his faults here in Vancouver. I think he believed too much in like Quinn Hughes and Miller and Pettersson to like do the merging, doing the camaraderie building. I wish Rick Tocchet got in there with his experience, with him being around the Lemieux of the world, and all the success this guy had in his career. I wish that he kind of like, brought the band together. That being said, he's more of a player's coach, and yeah, he just went through it. He went through it for a couple of years, and he knew that Elias Pettersson wasn't that guy to do the little things outside of playing on the ice. Like, he just didn't really think, or doesn't think, that Elias Pettersson, being the highest paid player, is the guy to lead by example in that room. So yeah, that made Rick Tocchet quit for sure. But those are the two obvious, okay? The two obvious ones outside of Miller leaving, Hughes and Pettersson. That was the boom bam. But there are also other reasons, and I know people get annoyed at this because this guy was barely a Canuck for a long time, and maybe you get annoyed at this as well because Rick Tocchet chose to replace this dude with Vincent Desharnais, right? The size and the speed and the whatnot, the camaraderie. But yeah, the Canucks didn't sign Nikita Zadorov. And how many times during, I would say, the last like month of the season, including the playoffs, did Rick Tocchet vouch for the importance of Nikita Zadorov? And again, Nikita Zadorov, better in the playoffs than Quinn Hughes in 2024. Sorry, had to say it, but I'm still jaded. But all in all, Nikita Zadorov, also when things were going bad, or the team was struggling, there was Zadorov providing the momentum with a hit, with the intangibles, with some physicality, providing the momentum with, by cracking a joke on the bench, keeping it light, right? On the ice, on the bench, in the room. How many times did Rick Tocchet lean on a guy like Nikita Zadorov? And yeah, at the end of the day, Zadorov's choice to leave Vancouver. But I guarantee losing one of his soldiers, that was a bullet. That was a wound that team and Rick Tocchet could not heal from. That is just the truth. Things happen fast. Rick Tocchet, the guy who made Vancouver cool again, in a span of a year, just quit. So many things just continued to happen. And, we just poo-pooed on Elias Pettersson. Dude, I know for sure. I know for sure. Rick Tocchet saw it in guys like Besser and DeBrusque too. That these guys just don't have it. They don't have that identity. They don't have that dog in them. Look at the type of player Rick Tocchet was. He knew at that age, guys that are like 27, 28 years old, there's no chance of molding these guys into the players they want them to be, especially when your alphas are, Miller, who can't get along with anyone, or it's just way too emotional. Who, again, 10-game suspension for a personal leave of absence, whatever you want to call it. Like, again, he couldn't be the guy. Quinn Hughes just doing all his leading on the ice, too quiet in the room, couldn't lean on him to like fix the camaraderie, make people play, above their standards and just be in the fight. Elias Pettersson, obviously not that guy too. Right? And then you look at the other guys outside of Garland and Sherwood, your other two expensive forwards, Besser and DeBrusque, a bit too nice. Now, all in all, Rick Tocchet didn't have his soldiers in that room. And also didn't believe that Rutherford and Alvin could, get him what he needed. And I'm not trying to like pat, Rick Tocchet on the back too much. Again, he quit. He quit. Maybe he should have believed that he could have fixed the problem too. Maybe he should have believed that he was a big part of the problem, right? If you're the coach of the team and everyone's fighting, instead of just waiting for the team to like fix itself by having Elias Pettersson and JT Miller lead the troops, how about you as the head coach go in there and settle everyone down because winning matters. But he couldn't do that. And honestly speaking, him not extending meant that he didn't want to do it. Multiple reasons. And look, outside of not signing Zadorov that offseason, I think the work that Alvin did, what was that, like 2 summers ago? Dude, that just ugly work. Ugly work. You just lost to Edmonton in the second round of the playoffs. And you fixed the team's issues by not getting Jake Gensel, but getting Jake DeBrusk and getting Danton Heinen and Vincent Desharnais, who again was co-signed by Rick Tocchet and Adam Foote. But nonetheless, just the professional scouting. And we've kind of seen that for almost like 2 summers outside of Sherwood and whatnot. Just horrendous. Horrendous. End of the day, he didn't believe. He didn't believe in the team anymore. He didn't believe in the players. He knew Quinn Hughes was leaving. And again, he didn't believe in himself that he could get the job done here. And I'm not going to say it hurts because, A, life is short, and B, we haven't been a good team for like 10, 12, 13 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm used to this. And Vancouver's not the most appealing place to play, especially if Quinn Hughes is leaving. Again, the knowledge that he had in the summer, allegedly, assumingly. Listen to his interview on Donnie and Daly, and I think he kind of touched on it. Rick Tocchet, a very honest guy. But all in all, it does like dissatisfy me a bit knowing that. And I'd love to ask Rick this. Like, does he wish that he stepped up and led the troops more? Does he wish that he, stormed into the offices of Rutherford and Alvin and said, yo, no matter what, go get Nikita Zadorov. Make sure he stays forever. Look at how good of a season Nikita Zadorov is having this year outside of taking all the penalties. Like that swagger, that bravado, the ability to just make the room more lighter, right? Like maybe Rick Tocchet should have just done more than what his job title acclaimed him to do. Maybe Rick Tocchet again wishes that when Miller and Pettersson were fighting and all this jazz was happening, that he didn't allow the players to fix it. I wish he just went in there, showed some film of like the early 90s Pittsburgh Penguins and all these other great teams and maybe the teams in Pittsburgh that he coached as well. And, just got the boys to recognize that this is bigger than you and you. And, oh, yeah, you're playing with Quinn Hughes. Get over yourselves. And let's go win. Maybe there's some regret there for Rick Tocchet. And I wonder. I feel as if, time has already passed and he's going to get a good round of applause today. And he was only here for 2.5 years. Like, not the greatest coach in Canucks history, but we barely have any statistics to, like, keep him away from, like, the top 7, top 8, considering he did win a Jack Adams and get this team to a second round. Again, this team's accomplishments, are few and far, like, they're just nothing. So Rick Tocchet, by standard that we've set here, is like one of the best coaches we've had. He's gonna get a video tribute and all, but I feel like the hate has passed. It really has. I think more of that has been sent Quinn Hughes' way. Like we just had an emotional last 14, 15 months. Like being a Canucks fan is one of the hardest things to do in the world. Well, it's one of the hardest first world problems ever. Okay, put that on a shirt. Anyways, let me know in the comments, why do you think Rick Tocchet left? I got some funny reasons too on the other side. Because Rick Tocchet, come on, this guy's more than a head coach, okay? He's a civilian, okay? Maybe he had other reasons why he didn't want to, call Vancouver home for the long term. Anyways, on the other side, we'll get into all that. We'll also get into Linus Karlsson and preview the rest of the Canucks season, man. Are we going to win Gavin McKenna or are we going to make the playoffs? Who knows? We'll talk about it on the other side. People, today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Yes, Gametime. Yes, Gametime. Yes, Gametime. It's the place to get your best last-minute tickets at the lowest price, guaranteed. And, come on. The Canucks, They kind of suck right now, especially on home ice. And I wonder, could you go to tonight's game for like $25 with our promo code? More on that at the end of this little read here. Because, again, Game Time, it's the place to get your tickets at the lowest price. The last-minute tickets guaranteed. And, Game Time, they don't lie to you, man. They ain't about that life, okay? You go on that app, you open it up, you look for your ticket. You scan through all the tickets, see those numbers right beside the selections, right, that dollar amount. You click that ticket, and that's the dollar amount you're paying, okay? They don't lie to you. They don't hit you with hidden fees or any of that at the checkout, okay? They don't try to scam you with psychology. No, the price you see is the price you pay. For real. And you're secured. With a Game Time guarantee, okay? No fake tickets here. Once you buy the tickets, you're getting into that arena. That is just the truth. And right now, again, NHL tickets, Canucks tickets. Could you get them for like $25 a pop? Most likely, okay? Especially if you use the promo code LOCKEDONNHL. Yes, LOCKEDONNHL. Use that promo code at at gametime.com, and you'll get $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL at gametime.com for $20 off your first $20 off your first purchase today. Download the Game Time app today, and go to the game for a low price, man. It's Christmas. Christmas came late. People, we back doing this, and that's talking about Rick Tocchet. Why are we talking about Rick Tocchet, man? Oh, yeah, because tonight the Philadelphia Flyers play the Vancouver Canucks, and, man, Rick Tocchet, I'm sorry, man, shoving it up my you-know-what, has Philadelphia up in the standings, doing its thing. I mean, if they are in the Western Conference, if my math is correct, they'd be like the best team ever. Straight up. Philadelphia doing their thing. Philadelphia kicked our ass last week. They dominated us, okay, for 40-something minutes until Demko had enough. So, yeah, Rick Tocchet, who, again, we were mad at last year. I mean, we missed the playoffs by 6 or 7 or 8 points or whatever it is. There's so much disdain for what happened last year, the whole Miller-Pettersson thing. I don't want to say we took Rick Tocchet for granted, but, there was a lot of angst surrounding his coaching style and the boringness and the lack of shot attempts and all this jazz, which there's a lot of truth too outside of the emotional aspect of some of that criticism. But he's proven it again that he could coach in the NHL. He's a better coach than Adam Foote, right? And he's finding success. And if there's not that drama last year, that again he's part guilty for because he couldn't fix it. But if Miller and Pettersson get along last year, obviously things are easier for a coach that, again, got the Canucks to 90 points last year with all those injuries. Anyways, let's read some comments and then talk about Linus Karlsson. GL is saying, glad Rick Tocchet is gone. His system is ultra boring. There's a lot of truth to that. It's a quote unquote winning system in the regular season. But there's again, a lot of the angst last year. It came from how boring the team was. Anywho, next comment. Riot 121212 saying talk quit. Okay, that's the nickname. Let me know. Do you think Rick Tocchet quit on the team? I still think so. Next comment. Man, oh man, and 5,000 K8Z said, why would Rick Tocchet want to stay? Well, because he would have a chance to coach Linus Karlsson, okay? Let's talk about Linus Karlsson. Probably a better player than Christian Dvorak, right? Or on a similar pace. Am I correct on that? I don't know. Let's look at Christian Dvorak's point totals this year. Because, man, oh man, doesn't Linus Karlsson have 16 points in 30 games, 30-something games? Isn't he on pace for 20 goals? That's pretty incredible. Now, Linus Karlsson has more goals than Christian Dvorak, the other guy the Canucks wanted this offseason, who's now a Flyer. That being said, Christian Dvorak does have 24 points. And I believe, again, Linus Karlsson does have 16, if I'm correct. All that being said, he does have 9 goals, and he's getting fourth line minutes. And, recently we've seen Linus Karlsson get more power play time. Even yesterday we saw him on the top unit. But Linus Karlsson has just been so much fun to watch. And I don't say that lightly. Like, the fact that this guy is so happy to be in the NHL, so happy to be a Canuck. Say what you want about the AHL championship. The fact that he also got this organization, one of those, it tells you that this guy's about to, write a pretty cool tale. Like, not Alex Burrows-esque, but like, this guy could be a fan favorite. And it wasn't that long ago where Rick Tocchet had this guy playing in the top 6 in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And I felt like punching myself in the face. I felt like waking up from the nightmare. I felt like we were not doing Canucks fans justice, okay? Like, go play Niels Höglander more, right? Dude, I was asking for Jonathan Lecker-Mackey more at that point than Linus Karlsson. But obviously the team saw something. Obviously Rick Tocchet saw something too. And look at this. Like, Linus Karlsson has been so good. He's made some beautiful plays. Loved his goal yesterday. Loved the shot. Him and Max Sasson just doing their thing. Getting some minutes with Liam Ogren too, who has like 4 points in like 7 games. And I'm just liking it, man. I'm liking it. He's definitely one of the positives. And based on what he has done in the AHL in recent history, and that's dominate, even in the playoffs. And now we're seeing this guy on pace for like 40 points this year. Dude, we might have a player here. And if I'm the Canucks, let me know if I'm stupid. But if I'm the Canucks, I'm signing this guy to a 3-year extension right now. And if you can get him at like the Max Sasson term, $1 million per, that's a steal. And, I'm hearing people also talk about selling high on Linus Karlsson, which I wouldn't be opposed to. But if all you're getting is a 3rd-round pick, I think it's best to just double down on the asset, have him be a part of the team moving forward, and, hope that he gets better because, again, there's excitement in that player. I'm not talking about this guy being a 50, 60-point guy time in and time out, but I'm just talking about the smile, the excitement, his energy. And yeah, a lot of that has to do with, him finally making the NHL and him probably being happy for himself. But to me, it's also him being a great teammate, doing whatever it takes, playing hard along the boards, not giving up, being serious in the offseason, getting faster. He was one of the best players in training camp. Like, taking this job serious, not being emotional, just playing hockey, okay? And the smile on his face, the way he celebrates, it's just, it's satisfying. Okay, seeing somebody proud to be a Vancouver Canuck, being proud to be a part of this organization. I like it. So yeah, again, let me know in the comments. Do you sell high on Linus Karlsson? Like if you get offered a 2nd-round pick for Linus Karlsson, do you have to do that ASAP? Maybe. But if it's just a 3rd, I'm shutting down the phone right away. I think you got a player here. And I'm a big fan of those players who have to wait this long to get their chance. Right? A couple of years ago, he gets like 4 games, a couple in the playoffs. Last year, he gets 20. This year, come on. Full-time NHLer and has been one of our most consistent players. 9 goals. And I know a lot of them have come recently. But he's just been consistent the whole season. Like, that 4th line has been fun to watch. Okay? Linus Karlsson, a bright spot this season. Tom Willander, a bright spot this season. And it's nothing to really brag about. Like, in debates about the Vancouver Canucks with other NHL fans, you can't just be like, oh, we got Linus Karlsson. At least we have Linus Karlsson. You can't. But as a diehard Canucks fan, watching these games game in and game out and having to watch guys like Besser and DeBrusque collect checks, again, it's just cool seeing a guy care that much. And again, succeed. And him and Max Sasson, again, way better than RC Baines. Sorry to Surrey, but it's just the truth. They've taken full advantage of this opportunity. There's no timidness in their game. They're just confident. They're playing with bravado. And again, if I'm the Vancouver Canucks, I'm signing him to a similar deal to Max Sasson, right? You get him 2 years, 3 years, 1 million per, even giving him that short sample size to like, again, be remotivated to like, even raise up your stats, get better during the offseason, be better next season, strike gold in a couple years with the new contract. Like that might bode well for the floor of this team. That's the truth. Yo, Linus Karlsson, way better than Brock Besser. That's not good enough, Brock, but it's the truth. Anyways, let's talk more about the Vancouver Canucks, the Philadelphia Flyers tonight. Talk about the playoffs too. I do want to get into it. I do, because the Los Angeles Kings keep losing too. The NHL is so mid. It's so ass right now. Okay. So we'll talk about that on the other side. Let's get to your comments as well. Again, you're listening and watching Locked On Canucks. People, we back doing this. And that's talking about the Swedish Olympic team. Is Linus Karlsson going to make that team? Let's get to your comment. Is Elias Pettersson going to make the Swedish Olympic team? I think he is. Look at this comment from Cethos, man. One of the optimists we have in this community. Yeah, we know we need Cethos. So where is it? He said something about Pettersson right here. Okay, Pettersson is putting up Selke-like stats this season. Haters are gonna hate. I mean, yeah, you pace this out for 82 games. What does Elias Pettersson have? He's making $11.6 million, but he's 60 points, 65 points, but leads the league in block shots for forwards. Is that worth 11.6? Some would say yes. I would say no. We need a higher ceiling when it comes to the point total. I'm sorry. That is just the truth. But I've said this before. Elias Pettersson is a lot better this year than he was last year. And when I say a lot better, I feel like he's 20 times better. So whatever he was doing in the offseason has worked. That being said, for the rest of this season, I don't want to see no disgruntledness. I don't want to see no emotional lapses. I want to see a smile. I want to see some good energy. I want to see a guy who's going to lead, right? He's not going to dwell. I want this guy to be the face of the organization and just like embrace it, because he's not going anywhere. We've heard about these trade rumors with Carolina for months and months and months, and now we got fake ones coming up. That one about Svechnikov, Stankoven, and the first for Elias Pettersson. Like, there's no way Elias Pettersson's worth more than some KFC right now, okay? And I know he's been better than he was last year, but just at 11.6 and with all that bad aura, like, he's a big reason why Quinn Hughes is not here too. I'm sorry. He's a big reason why Rick Tocchet left the Canucks. He's a big reason why this organization failed. Like, there's just a negative dark cloud over the guy when it comes to like perception, and you're not getting all that for Elias Pettersson, okay? It's not happening. So if he's sticking around for the long term, which I think he is, just embrace the chaos, embrace the mess, Maybe we'll talk about this in a later episode, and maybe we'll get the guy on the show. Maybe we'll get Roberto Luongo on the show. But have that like Roberto Luongo type turnaround, right? When it comes to your relationship with the fan base and the media. Crack jokes about yourself. Lean into it a little. Just like change it up. Because now with younger guys there, the Rossies, the Bulliams, the Ogrens, like, I don't know. I just don't want them to be around. A guy making $11.6 million being a nuisance, being annoyed, being miserable. Like, change it up. Enough's enough. Enough's enough. So, yeah, the play on the ice, the blocking of the shots, the goal he scored yesterday, beautiful. 23 points in 28 games, if I'm correct now. Again, better than he was last year. Still want more, but bare minimum. and no excuses moving forward, just have a smile on your face. All right, you're that guy in Vancouver now. Next comment. Andrew saying Pettersson played fine last night. He did. He did. He really did. What else do we got going on here? Let me know. Pettersson's making the Olympic team, right? That's an obvious, right? So it's the Swedish Olympic team. G. Ellis saying Canucks should trade Pettersson for picks, DeBrus for picks as well. That could be enough for a rebuild. Keep Sherwood and Garland and Carlson, players that give a you know what. Yep. I brought that up on yesterday's episode. I'd much rather have Sherwood and Garland than DeBrusque and Sherwood and Garland than DeBrusque and Besser. Right? I want the culture setters, and again, when we're at rock bottom, I know we're 6 points out of a playoff spot, 7 points out of a playoff spot, whatever the math is. No, 6 points behind the LA Kings right now. Whatever the math is, okay, all over the place with the numbers, but it's not mission impossible for this team to get into the dance. Like, I know people are annoyed at me saying that, but it's just the predicament the NHL is in right now. Everyone is still in the dance, right? That all being said, if we are quote unquote rock bottom and we're resetting everything and we're doing this hybrid retool rebuild, whatever it is, again, we got rid of Hughes and Miller in a span of less than 12 months. Like, everything's changed. If we are starting from the bottom, I think the Canucks and I think the fan base would love this. Like, if they just have an identity that they're going to only bring in players who are going to work their ass off and not, again, get emotional and let the media or the noise get in the way of what they got to do on a daily basis, then so be it. So be it. Again, Besser and DeBrusque on their best days are probably better players than Garland and Sherwood. But if they're not going to bring it every game and just collect checks for 50% of the season because half these games don't matter or because your captain got traded and it's emotional and all, I don't want you on the team. I don't want you on the team. If Vylander's playing every game, if Zeev Bullion's playing every game, if Lekkermacky gets called up, if Braden Coots is here next year, I want those guys to be around dogs. I want those guys not to feel entitled, making millions, collecting checks, playing for a bad hockey team. I want them to give it their all and lose bleeding game in and game out for this team in this city. Because enough's enough. We've been bad for 14, 13, whatever. We've been bad for a long time. I keep saying this. I went through my whole 20s without going to a bar to watch the Canucks play a playoff game, to play a meaningful game. You know what I'm saying? Like, that, this is not good enough. So if we're going to suck, let's suck. Let's be bad in the standings, but let's work our ass off doing so. Because this collecting check energy and having like the richest players on this team, like not do media, look sad all the time, be disgruntled, not give their best effort, and just allowing like Sherwood and the smallest guy on the team, Connor Garland, do all of that, doing all the fighting and whatnot. It's like, yo, enough's enough. And as 98 Canuck is saying, get rid of the passengers. 100%. 100%. Anyways, my name's Kyle Bowden. Hit the like button, support the show. Link in the bio to the children's book that our studio is dropping in a couple of months. Go check that all out. And I don't think we're doing another post-game show tonight. And I kind of want to apologize for that, but that's life, yo. I think I'm going to go see some friends to finish off the holiday season. And we only got a couple more days in this season. So I apologize for that. That's life. There's like 18 other Canucks podcasts that do that as well. So, they're all talented. You'll get your fix in. I'll be listening to those shows because I need the fix too. All that being said, enjoy the game tonight. Let's beat Rick Tocchet. And, let's either get closer to the playoffs or get closer to the lottery. That's where you are. Okay? That's where you are. Anyways, one love. Peace out. And go Canucks go.